All right, light up those pumpkins, everybody, because we are live. Let's see who else is awake and alive out there tonight. What's up? Happy Michael Myers Monday, everybody. If you're new here, welcome to it. My name is Matt. We are Halloween Daily News, and this is Michael Myers Monday Live, our weekly gathering and hangout with the greatest fan community there is, the Halloween Michael Myers movie fans, fanatics, and everything in between. So welcome, and to all of our returning friends, what's up, everybody? You are here. You made it through another week, and this was a big one. You made it through a Monday, and this was a big one, and we are here. It is Michael Myers Monday, and Halloween Ends is upon us. #1 movie in the country right now. We're going to be talking about it. I published my review of it on the site a little bit earlier today. I hope you all checked it out. I'm seeing that some of you did take time to read it. I appreciate that. We're going to be talking all about that and lots more here tonight. So if you're new, welcome. And to all of my returning friends, what's up, guys? Happy Michael Myers Monday. Thanks so much for being here tonight. And I see we've already got some super chat going on thanks to our buddy Rob Windsor. So here's to you right off the bat, buddy. Let's see. Let's check over here. Like I said, Rob Windsor checking in with a big $10 super chat. We'd love to see that. Thank you so much. Think about becoming a channel member too, guys, like AC Fall Guy and some of our other members in here. It's just $5 a month. You get cool perks. Click the join button and you'll learn. Art79 is in here as well. Art H79. Vibes checked out the review. Is always very thorough and always. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. JL, what's up, man? Thank you for being here. Larry Moore is in the house. Happy Triple M. Sammy Presley is here. Looks like Sammy loved Halloween Ends as well. I love to hear it. Darlene is here. Awesome. Lighting it up. Tim Leo, our buddy. Thank you for being here as well, sir. Phil, of course. Dude is here. Dude was reading my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Megan is here. Let's see. Let's scroll up a little bit. David Suber, yes, in the house. Thank you for being here as well. Let's see. Halloween Vibes has checked in. Let's see. Johnny Trouble is in the house. What's up, man? Andromeda, of course. Thank you for being here as well. Awesome. Lots of familiar friends lighting it up in the live chat room. Lance Lance is here, one of our channel members as well. Happy Michael Myers Monday to you. Lakinham is here. Howdy from Tennessee. Merry Michael Myers Monday. I love that. Let's see. Phil is here. Awesome. Thank you for being here as well. David has checked in as well. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so we got a good little crowd filtering in here tonight. Like I said, we got lots to talk about. And it's pretty much just all Halloween Ends tonight because obviously it is upon us. As far as my weekly show and tell, you know, I always like to kind of show off a little something new to the collection or new in our store or whatever. So this week it's a little bit of both, but new for my collection came from our local RC Theater. We did get the official Halloween Ends plastic cup, and I know it's a little dark, but you can see there is the poster image of Michael there on the cup. Ends this Halloween. Really happy and surprised to get that, considering they didn't have one for Killser 2018. They didn't have the popcorn bucket. That would have been really cool. Definitely would have gotten that as well. But pretty cool that now we've got our first ever officially licensed Halloween franchise theater cup to add to the collection. Some of you might have seen some of the fun we had on premiere night here in Kill Devil Hills at our local theater. We did share a little brief video of a sighting of the Shape here in Kill Devil Hills. That's right. He was at our local theater on Thursday night, and my son actually shot the video. He's the one behind the camera for all of that, and then I kind of cut it together and made a fun little video. And I'm just going to run that right now for the other part of our show and tell, because this, of course, shows off that officially licensed Halloween Ends mask, and I'm actually using a Halloween Kills knife, both of which we have in stock right now in our store, as a matter of fact, HalloweenDailyNews.com/shop. Limited supply, but the masks are here in hand. Once again, we have a bunch of them. They look beautiful. All orders that came in while we were out of stock have been shipped out and should be getting them. If they didn't get them today, they should be getting them tomorrow. And so they are back in stock. So just real quick, I'm going to take 2 minutes. If you've already seen this, then you can go to the bathroom or grab a snack or whatever you need to do. Then we'll be back on here and we'll dive into some Halloween ends. And then a little bit later on, we are going to, I'm going to be premiering a clip from our next exclusive interview that we're dropping here on the YouTube channel. And I'll go ahead and reveal who it's with now to whet your appetite. But just earlier today, just a few hours ago, very fittingly today on Michael Myers Monday, I had a great conversation with Paul Brad Logan. He is the co-writer of Halloween Ends and the author of the official Halloween Ends movie novelization. And we had a great chat over Zoom. I'm very excited to share that with you. And the novelization comes out tomorrow, and he gave us a lot of insight into the creative process of writing this film. He actually reveals a few things and clarifies a few things. A little bit of breaking news that we'll talk about, and some that involves Halloween Ends that you've seen in theaters, and others that involves that novelization that we're all going to be very interested to read. Here's a hint, spoiler alert, there's a whole lot in that book that is not in the movie. Yeah, whole lot. We'll be talking about that in a little while, and I will be, like I said, we'll be premiering a first ever exclusive clip from that interview of Paul discussing a little bit about Halloween Ends and the Corey Cunningham character and his relationship with Allison and so forth. Anyway, that's what you got to look forward to a little bit later on after our Halloween Ends discussion. But first up, I'm going to take a breath and play this video from our local theater here in Kilnova Hills, North Carolina on opening night of Halloween Ends when we suspiciously spotted the shape. Check it out.
No, I just watched your movie, bro.
Just keep the sound in real quick. Come on, for real. You are fine. You messed up. Go over there and take a picture with you. Sit there. Show your friends. Come on. Get a picture with you. There you go. Come on. Scared cat.
Yeah, and that little bit of the fun that we had here at our local theater. And again, if you're really paying attention, there's actually a little bonus scene in that version that's not in the regular version elsewhere on the channel. But anyway, that's for anybody out there keeping score that's really paying attention. I did want to remind you before we. Oh, this is a cool shot. I shared this on our socials, but this is another shot that our son Uzziah took um, outside the theater. I thought it came out really nice. And this is just a quick shot I took of my copy of that HN's Mask by Trick or Treat Studios, just, right out of the box. And that's one of our officially licensed H Kills knives, actually. We don't have the ends in stock quite yet, but we do have those beautiful mirror-bladed Kills knives. And we do have a couple of those knives, not very many in stock. And we are pretty well stocked on the ends right now. I mean, it's a limited supply, not as many as we'd like to have, and they are going fast, but we do have those. And of course, all orders come with a free Halloween Daily News sticker as well. You can get yours at HalloweenDailyNews.com/shop. All right, so I'm reading some of your comments in here. Dude says my ears look good in ends. I saw some of you, Darlene, said that they didn't even have a poster at your theater. Man, that's rough. Not even the poster. Yeah, they had that poster out on the outside. They had two of them actually, both posters. The Michael by himself and that with both of them on the outside of the theater. Nothing on the inside though. Like when we went in 2018, they had that giant. I've told you guys the story. They actually gifted me a few months later, surprised me. The theater did, and gave me the big, like subway size poster that they had up on their really high walls that you can kind of see in there over the ticket taker area. And Minoka, now we know your name. Awesome. I'll try to do better on that. Appreciate it. And let's see. Byron, I see, has checked in as well. Yes, Byron, I'm having a really good Michael Myers Monday. Thank you for asking. David says that cup is gigantic. It is pretty huge. Yeah, you got to get the large to get that. And I didn't know they were going to have that. I mean, we've collected a ton of those over the years from superhero movies and Star Wars movies and what have you, but not too many horror movies. So I was very happy to have that. Larry says Corey was good. Not a lot of people can say they looked into the eyes of Michael Myers. Yeah, and what a cool scene. What a haunting scene. Yeah, you guys, hopefully a lot of you saw, or maybe you didn't, but I did post like just a quick kind of 2-minute out of the theater reaction, and even that was after we had talked for a little while with some friends of ours that went and saw it with us on that Thursday night. And just my quick reaction, and how awesome I felt like it was then. But I didn't write my review right away. I wanted to kind of sit with it, and I've still only seen it the one time, bear in mind, Thursday night. So it's been 5 nights now, 5 days. And so I've still only seen it one time. And earlier today, I published like my official written review on the website at HalloweenDailyNews.com. And I did put the link here in the live chat, and you can also find it down in the description below. Check it out when you get a chance if you haven't already. It's pretty spoiler free, but at this point, I would say that if you haven't seen Halloween Ends, spoiler warning at this point, because we are going to go into some full just discussion, and I'll try not to be too redundant and read word for word my whole review. Again, it's out there if you can check it out. I'll paraphrase some of the things. I probably won't go over some of the things, but we can go a little bit more into detail here with our live discussion here tonight, and kind of break down some of the key points of this movie. But yeah, the bottom line is, the more I've sat with this movie, the more the emotional impact of it all keeps coming back at me. That's what has really resonated with me. And I left the theater with this really kind of, I said in that reaction video, it was like exhilaration is what it felt. And I think a lot of that was, again, full spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Halloween Ends, now it's time to pause this, go watch it, come back, watch the rest. Okay? Are we good? Let's see. Minoka says the review was spot on, and I read several others. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And some of you have said that. Vibes appreciated the review. David said that he read it and appreciated that. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you taking the time to read it, because I did find myself feeling that, because I tried to write it like on Friday, and it didn't really feel right. And I almost came on here and had a discussion with you guys, but I'm still kind of sitting with it all. And the more I've sat with it over the weekend, like I said, the emotions of it all really set in. And then thinking over about this story, and I've seen comments on our social media and elsewhere, just in the Twitter sphere and what have you, some of the more negative comments and complaints that I see people complaining about. But man, like I said in that review, it will be divisive within the fandom, no doubt. And some people are not going to like it, maybe ever. But I do say, at the end of the day, as I said in that review, and I say it again here tonight to you guys, and it sounds like most of you are kind of agreeing with me, but I do think this will be kind of a fan favorite over the years. I think it will have its devoted audience, and I do think some of the knee-jerk reactions that I've seen of there's not enough Michael Myers in it, and therefore it didn't feel like a Halloween movie. Like I've seen kind of variations on that comment. I don't know. I don't really agree so much. I mean, yes, it is shockingly less of Myers than we've seen in previous films, and a shockingly different kind of Myers with this. I mentioned in the review, he's kind of weakened in when we first see him in this weakened state, but there is this magnificent moment. And again, we're kind of going out of order. I wanted to kind of go in order with the breakdown, but let's just talk about this for a second. I talk about it in the review, and it's one of my favorite moments in the movie. And also, I talk about it in this upcoming interview with Paul Brad Logan. Not in the clip you're going to see tonight, but when the full interview comes out tomorrow, we talk about this particular scene because he was on set when James Jude Courtney filmed it. And this is a little bit of scoop, is that that was not scripted exactly like that. I mean, there was something scripted there, but that whole Michael in that cave when he, starts to come to life again, let's say. You guys know the part we're talking about. We saw a bit of it in that trailer, and we saw that body language. That's James. That's all James in the moment there, inhabiting Michael Myers like only he can and does. You know what I mean? So to hear Paul, tell that story today, and to hear that. Anyway, that's something you're going to hear more of in that interview. But as far as that, that there's not much Michael Myers, I feel like that's true in the sense, yes, but only if you're looking for the very literal, very physical Michael Myers, because the film is literally kind of dripping with Michael Myers. Like, even when he's not there, even when it's not even necessarily him doing these evil things, these killings, it is still, it is so in the air throughout Haddonfield in this movie. So when I see comments like that, and again, a lot of this has come from just kind of sitting. A lot of you have seen the movie a lot more times than I have by now. Some of you 2, 3, 4 times I've seen your comments. So, and I'm very curious, with repeat viewings, because I will watch it again. I plan to see it again in the theater I might wait till Halloween weekend. I don't know. I got busy this week and next week, so it might be Halloween weekend before I get a chance. But that would be kind of fun. I think that's what we did with Kills. We went and saw it again in theaters on Halloween weekend. So, but I want to hear like on rewatch, because that's always so pretty high in my when I'm ranking a movie, the rewatchability of it all. But I do think this one will lend itself to that in a lot of ways. And I mentioned that in the review that I think over the years, people will, it will be, well, it will be one of what I call the weirdos of this franchise for sure. It'll be one of the films in the category of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, uh, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, in the sense that they are, up until now, the most divisive films within the franchise. There are plenty of people that love all three of them or any combination of those, plenty of people that don't. This film will be within that category, but I, and regular viewers know this, I am always a champion of the weirdos in life and in the Halloween franchise. I love those films, and I love their weirdness and embrace it. And this one, I don't even think is quote unquote as weird as that. I think we knew it was going to be different as fans, hearing these comments from John Carpenter and other people involved with the film ahead of time, that it would be a little different and a little unexpected compared to what we are used to seeing. And that's exactly what it was. And that is mainly tied around this new character of Corey Cunningham, who brings this whole new storyline, his storyline, crashing into the Strodes, the Strode women, Laurie and Allison, of course. And let's just say that Jamie Lee Curtis, I mentioned this in the review, and again, I'm going to try not to read my review word for word. You can read it at your leisure if you haven't already, but I said this, and I really feel this way. I mean, I knew in 2018 that she was going to be our new Loomis type character, right? Laurie would be. And you just kind of knew that going in, and it's definitely proven to be that. But what I feel like, the same way that Loomis, gives depth to the whole mythology of this isn't a man and all that, it's Donald Pleasance who really gives gravity to all those movies he was in, right up to The Curse of Michael Myers, right to the last one he's in. I mean, he really gives them gravity and depth, and his performances are always just amazing. I mean, if it's possible to get better with each one, they do. I mean, he's just so good in those roles. And that, to me, I think is very much what Jamie Lee Curtis brought to this most recent portrayal of Laurie Strode in these three films. And I've seen some of you, I saw Byron a little bit ago mention that this is his favorite version of Laurie Strode. Absolutely. And it how interesting, and I talked to Paul a little bit about this, about some of the creative decisions of, getting to see a different side of Laurie Strode, very different from where we found her in 2018, which was very much, dealing with the last 40 years in her own way. Whereas this time, she essentially got some help and found some ways to kind of move on a little bit. And when we meet her, we're seeing things that we've never seen Laurie Strode do, and see her in a place mentally she hadn't been since the early morning hours of Halloween 1978. It's kind of surreal at a certain point when we see Laurie hanging Halloween decorations and making pumpkin pie. But I mean, how cool is that to get to see just a little bit of that version of that character? Because she is such a badass, and then that is still there, of course. That is still, she when the time comes, she immediately snaps back into that. All right, I'm going to take a break or a breath for a minute and check in here on the live chat, and then we will continue our HN's breakdown and discussion. David didn't like seeing Myers weak, having the pushing match with Corey and Michael. Well, and again, that is right before. I agree with you. That's jarring. That's a side of Michael that we've never seen, is a weakened Michael. And that is an interesting scene I want to talk about, because that goes right into that breathing life back into him. That kind of being fed. I mentioned it was like chum for a shark almost. And it's like when he gets a taste of that, it's just he comes to life again almost. And so whether that's a supernatural thing or not, and again, this is a little bit of what you'll hear in my full interview with um, Paul Brad Logan, just a little bit of that classic discussion. Michael is a man, he's supernatural. How much of that? And the idea that, as I've mentioned many times on here, that when I asked John Carpenter that very question, I always go back to what he said, and the answer is both. He is a man, but he's also at the same time somehow something unexplainably else, something different. And so there is going to always be that unexplainable element. So whatever it is that he's breathing back in, and he's like exhaling this, that weakness almost, and now he's like back in fighting shape all of a sudden. I don't know. But it is definitely, something that I think I found James's body performance in this one just so striking and so interesting, especially when he's still in the cave. And then there's that scene, that quick glimpse that we isolated in one of the trailers, and we've talked about it, and maybe I'm obsessing over it more than I should, but that whole scene of the when Doug, the Allison's ex, who by the way is Officer Doug Mullaney. Did you guys catch that cool callback to Kills? That one of the Mullaney kids who were bullying Lonnie in '78, they grew up to have a kid who has at least some kind of spent some time dating Allison, it appears, for a little while before Corey comes onto the scene. And I thought that was kind of funny that the Mullaneys are referenced once again. But he's down there in the cave, and it goes by so quick, but he sees that carving of Michael and the mask in there on the walls, and we've talked about what's going on there, and it's not going to be explained, because it's not explained in the film, and I asked Paul about this, and not even so much to get an explanation, but to more corroborate my thoughts that there, to explain too much about that would be to defeat the point. I think it's to make us think, and that's kind of the short answer of it all. And then it occurred to me that it's even more freaky that nobody will ever know about that. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever going to see that. Michael, Corey, they're all gone. Who's gonna go down there and ever discover that? I mean, it's just such a weird monument to I don't know, Michael's insanity, his artistry, his own trauma in life. I don't know. You guys, give me your take. It's fascinating though, and the imagery of it is fascinating. And then you have Michael lurking right there, just waiting to jump out. Definitely one of the creepiest scenes in the whole thing, if you ask me. I said in the review as well, and I feel like this, that the Corey Cunningham character, I went into this like most of you, knowing very little, but expecting only what really was presented in the trailers, which wasn't much and was kind of misleading. And then there was that one line in the official synopsis that prepared us that this is a new character who's going to be accused of this young boy's death. And so when we get that opening scene, it was not what I expected. It was very effective, though. I mean, I really like that opening scene. I like that it echoed a little bit the opening of the original '78. I really appreciated that they're watching John Carpenter's remake of The Thing on TV on Halloween night. Of course, recalling Lindsay Wallace watching the original Howard Hawks black and white version of The Thing back on Halloween night 1978. I thought that was a really nice touch and one of many cool Carpenter shout outs within the film. And I thought it was all, very moody and very creepy. And then just unexpectedly in your face with poor Jeremy. And so, and again, we talk a little bit about this in that interview with Paul as well. But I found myself enjoying the Corey storyline and sympathizing with that character and actually liking the character more than I guess I thought I would going into it. I think in my head, going into for whatever reason, and a lot of this maybe just came from our discussions here on Monday nights, and maybe some of you, I just didn't know how they were going to portray the character. I was picturing him more as sort of a a Michael Myers enthusiast, a fan, copycat, I guess, if you will, wannabe copycat more, and maybe that's what leads him to be involved with Allison. Whereas this was structured different, and I would say much more effectively, and I liked how this was structured better. That he and Allison, they're kind of intersecting in their lives. I thought quite fittingly at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. I love that Allison works at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital for many reasons. I think that's awesome. And but their lives are intersecting, and how fitting that it's Laurie that literally kind of brings him to her, as they say at one point in the film, I think. And then of course it's Laurie who is the first one to notice that that there are signs of something else going on here. And as you guys have said, I mean, not many people have looked deep into the eyes, the blackest eyes, and walked away from it. So that is something that I would pose to you guys as just what your take on that that moment in particular, because that's one of the most interesting sequences in the film. Let's say, you know what I'm talking about, the eye to eye moment where we go deep into his eye, and we're seeing a little bit of the madness in there. What do you guys take from that? And going back to what David said about the shoving match, as you put it, when they're fighting, when Corey goes in there to get that mask, it's pretty shocking that he gets it, but I love that we get that iconic sit up and the head turn, and it's like James, again with that brilliant body language, is just signaling that, oh my god, it is on, and he is coming out of that hole, masked or unmasked, ready to do some damage. All right, I'm going to turn over here to the live chat for just a minute. Let's see. Let me scroll back up a little bit and see. Vibes enjoyed it. Jim can't stop watching it. Such a good movie. Awesome. Visible Saints wondering if they intentionally made it polarizing in an effort to sort of like H3 in that regard. I wouldn't go that far, but I do love the fact, I'm sure you guys noticed, the opening credits are blue, and are the same font of the blue opening credits of the only other film in this entire franchise where it's blue opening credits, and that is, of course, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. So I do really like that we got that little subtle Season of the Witch shout, this being the third film. And what I've decided I'm calling the Strode Trilogy. I think we should all call it the Strode Trilogy. Um, Paul agrees in the interview when I told him that it's the Strode Trilogy. These movies are all Laurie's movies, and Michael is invading that. And you can even see it even more specifically of 2018 is Laurie's movie, Kills is Karen's movie in many ways, and this in many ways is Allison's movie. And speaking of Allison, let me just say that this is my favorite version of Allison that we've seen of these three movies. I think she was just far more interesting this time around because, she's clearly, dealing like Laurie, kind of dealing with their, what happened 4 years ago in their own way. And but I felt like she was kind of, standing up on her own feet and kind of taking charge of her own destiny and saying, I'm not gonna throw away 40 years of my life obsessing over this, the way that my grandmother did, for right or for wrong, as it turns out. And you got to remember, you think about Allison, that she was so unprepared for this. Of the three Strode women, I mean, Laurie, of course, was prepared in 2018. She'd been waiting for that for 40 years. She was so ultra prepared. Karen was prepared. We didn't know it at the time, and maybe Laurie thought she forgot it, but she was very prepared, more prepared than most of us would be for something like that. Allison, on the other hand, completely unprepared for any of that. To get thrown into that, she's going to have different reactions. But I like what they did with her in this film. I liked that she's got a little bit of that rebel vibe, kind of rebelling against Laurie a little bit, and kind of looking for something. She doesn't know what, and she thinks she's gonna find that in Corey. And for a few minutes anyway, I think they do find that, and that's another first for this franchise. I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but has there ever been an actual love story within one of these movies before? There's flirtations and there's sex, of course, but has there been an actual love story? And we kind of get two here, with the culmination of the Laurie and Frank story, which I absolutely love. And I'm so happy for them, thank God, because every other aspect of this movie almost is a tragedy. It's so sad when I think about how it leaves so many of these characters. But before I get to that, I have to comment again, that I found myself, instead of looking at this love story and kind of rolling my eyes like, oh God, don't go there. I was like, no, I'm along for this ride. I kind of want to see these two, and even though you kind of know it's not going to work because we know what movie we're watching and we know what we've already seen. I mean, it's just this this perfect storm that's coming, and it's coming, but yet you still, at least I was rooting for them. I found myself rooting for them, I guess because they've had such shitty luck in life, and so you kind of want something good for them. And then there's that classic young love moment where it's like, we'll just leave, we'll go somewhere and start over, just us, and you're just yeah, if only they could make it. And then of course, where it leaves Allison, that's probably the character that I'm thinking of the most tonight and over the weekend since watching the movie for the first time. That's the character I keep going back to because my immediate reaction as the film ends is feeling good for Laurie and Frank because they've been through so much, and now they're finally going to have a few minutes of happiness, it feels like. But then as it sets in, I feel so sad for Corey, for what happened to him, and for Allison, because she's out there, and thank God she's out of Haddonfield. Hell yeah, that's a good start. And but man, I could lose some sleep worrying about what might happen to her and where she's going to be. I mean, I'd like to think that, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and she's going to be so much tougher and smarter now, and ready for whatever life throws at her. But that is kind of the character that I'm left thinking about, and I guess that goes into some thoughts on Michael and how they dispose of Michael. Let's say I say in the interview, they're putting a period on the Michael and Laurie saga here, and again, I've seen some upset fans, a bit of outrage. Some of you in my feed, saying things like, I hate it. I can't believe they did Michael like that. And, um, I didn't find myself, and I still don't find myself too beat up over that. I guess I just feel like, we've seen Michael, quote unquote, die before, even on screen. And so, if I had to place money on, how this Strode trilogy was going to wrap up, I mean, it's probably going to be a triumphant Laurie Strode moment. But then how it's done, and to me, it's the fight that they hyped up. Yeah, that I would agree, probably a little underwhelming. Um, it didn't go on very long. It's not like this epic huge battle. But I also feel like if it was a 15-minute throwdown, then the common complaint would be, how could these old people still be throwing each other around like this? So it's one of those things. I really liked it though, and I did, like when she's pinning him down and she's giving her speech and stuff. It felt. I used the word cathartic in my review, and I did feel that. I felt it for Laurie, because we've watched her not just in these last 3 movies, but in these last 4.5 decades. We've all watched her go through this so much. So when she's saying, "You've done this to me, you've done that to me, and no more," I felt the emotions there, and the power of that. So I thought that was good. And the procession. This was another moment that I felt was handled. I mean, it's just this epic moment, and you think that, how are they going to close out the Michael story? How are you going to effectively kill off Michael, end him, for good? So they bring out this religious imagery almost, and they have this funeral procession in the middle of the night on Halloween night, and it's all of Haddonfield, that we've seen in these previous movies. I mean, when we got those shots of our friends, of Diva Tyler, who plays Sandra, I love that scene earlier in the film with Sandra and her sister, just so mad at Laurie Strode, and it's because they're mad, and they're mad at Michael, and they're mad at things they can't control, but they're they're taking it out on Laurie, but I love that scene, and I was pleasantly surprised with that, and love that, and I loved seeing her again at the end in the procession, and I loved seeing our friend Jabral Nantambu, who plays Julian, and again, regular viewers, longtime viewers will know that Jabral actually told us when we met him and interviewed him way back in the summer of 2019. Before they had even begun filming Halloween Kills. Sue did the interview at Scares That Care in 2019, and Jabral told us back then that he was going to be in both Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, and he said that he would not die. He was not going to die. He was going to make it through both those movies. And I don't even know what he knew at the time. I don't think he even knew what was in store at the time, for sure. But damned if everything he said has not come to be and proven to be absolutely factual. So shout out to you, Jabral. It was so awesome seeing him there, and emotional again, because it's tying back, and then that makes me think of Vicky and Dave from the 2018 film, who I really liked in that film, and I think I mentioned when 2018 came out, I kind of enjoyed Vicky and Dave's time on screen even more than watching Allison and um, uh, Cameron in the 2018 film. You know what I mean? And I felt like in this film more than the other two, it was Allison's film. I mean, it's still Laurie's, in so many ways, but it was really Allison's film and Andy's time to shine. And so I thought she did a really knockout job. Her best acting, in my opinion, of these three films. And it doesn't hurt that they're giving her so much more to do as well. And Allison's just such a powerful force in this movie. And then huge shout out to Rowan Campbell, because again he won me over in large part because of his performance and also how it was written and how it was all presented in ways that I just didn't expect him to be the sympathetic character. I didn't know that he was going to be a bullied character per se. Speaking of which, hopefully you checked out my interview that we dropped last week on opening day with Joey Harris, who plays one of the 4 Haddonfield bullies who are harassing poor Corey Cunningham. She was totally awesome to talk to. And it was very enlightening to get insight on her character and some of the changes that they made and some of the deleted stuff that they shot and wasn't filmed. There'll be lots more of that in my interview with Paul Logan as well, including some of the real life inspiration of those bullies from his own real life, which is crazy, and also just some other background there. So hopefully you checked that interview out. But I found, like I said, I found the Corey character to be much, much more a sympathetic character than I expected, and I found myself rooting for him. And when I talked to Paul today, and you'll see this in the interview when it drops tomorrow in full, but he mentioned some of their influences in coming up with that love story of some 80s and 90s type romances. He even mentions at one point the 1990s film Pump Up the Volume. And any of you my age probably remember that film, probably watched it and thought, oh man, that's like the coolest love story. And that's so to hear that stuff like that is well, that's why it's resonating with me, because I like some of those influences already going into it. All right, let's pause here because the great ProtectSafes.com has checked in and dropped a awesome $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Saying simply, you can't kill the boogeyman. Hell no, you can't kill the boogeyman. And I'm gonna have to get that Scarecrow mask. I think I was expecting Trick or Treat Studios actually like today or something to announce their official Corey Cunningham Scarecrow mask, and then we need the Allison Black Cat. I mean, come on. And I talked to Paul a little bit about the choice of those masks specifically, because of course I'm obsessed with masks, and they're both iconic symbols of Halloween holiday itself. So I thought that was kind of cool that they went with that. All right, I'm going to turn over here to the live chat for just a minute, and but as always, these are my thoughts, my opinion. There's no real right or wrong here. It's all subjective. I know this is a divisive film. Like I say, I have no doubt there are some Michael Myers fans and fans of these films that saw it in theater, will never watch it again, have no interest in it. And that's fine. But I think, for those of us that are looking at it with a little wider angle lens, I feel like, I think it's got a lot to offer, and it does feel kind of fresh to me. And for all the talk of this being the final battle and the end, and the end, and the end of the saga, and the end, and the end, and the end, let's just keep in mind it ends Allison leaves Haddonfield. Laurie and Frank are happy. I mean, children are out on the streets in Haddonfield. Halloween has actually ended. Halloween itself has ended. I liked the touch that it is the next morning. It is literally November 1st. Now, I know technically in some of the previous films the action has gone on past midnight. You know, I know the sun's coming up in the early morning hours of at the end of Halloween 281. So it's not technically the first time Halloween has officially ended, and it's been after midnight. But I thought that's a nice touch that, you know, for Halloween ends, the final scene is the next day, November 1st, where it's actually ended. But let's not forget that Laurie's ultimate conclusion in her book, in her memoir. Let's not forget that that great line that she says, which I think is so key, is that you know, yeah, she defeated her boogeyman, and I'm paraphrasing, I know, she defeated her boogeyman, but what she ultimately realizes is, contrary to what they were chanting in the previous film, evil doesn't die. It changes shape. And to me, that does, in fact, leave even this continuity, even this timeline open for continuation um, if the powers that be were to ever decide to go that way. And I think that'll be one of the things over the years that, you know, some people will probably ask for. I want to continue that story. I want to see where Allison's at now. And by the way, I did ask Paul, because he tells me in the interview that Allison is his favorite character to write, and like his hero and in life, and he just loves that character. And so when you watch the interview, you'll see me ask him how he thinks Allison is doing after Halloween 2022, and what direction he thinks she might go in. So very, you know, you're gonna like getting to know Paul. I think he's a really cool dude. I had a great time chatting with him today. I really just appreciate getting some insight into some of the creative decisions that were made, because these are decisions that, you know, fandom will talk about and debate for the next 40 years. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when it comes to Corey Cunningham, I feel like he is a character who is gonna be beloved by fans of this franchise the way Jamie Lloyd is. And less a character that is maybe not so beloved, like maybe the Man in Black character introduced in Halloween 5. And but that's my take on it. I like the differences sometimes. I feel like 44 years, 13 films. And then, again, we're coming off of what I call the ultimate Michael Myers movie with Halloween Kills. Like, when I mean ultimate, I mean there's like no more collection of badass sequences of Michael Myers being badass than in Halloween Kills, if you ask me. That is like wall to wall. And so yeah, and I get, you know, that yeah, it's a little jarring to go from that and see a Weekend of Michael, but I almost see it as though that night, those two movies, that fateful night in 2018, that's almost like 40 years of and he was also fed well in the institution in Smith's Grove. You got to remember, well, in comparison to what he was eating in the last 4 years. You got to think about that too. He was medicated with whatever he needed while he was in there, you know. So there's that as well. But yeah, it's definitely a little jarring at first when we see a Weekend Michael. But man, when he does come back, it is so powerful. All right, you guys give me your thoughts in the comments and over here in the live chat. I'm going to take a drink and a breath here, and then I am going to premiere a clip from our new interview with Paul Brad Logan. But first, let's turn over here into the live chat for just a few minutes. And before I even do that, let me just read a couple comments that came in from some of you guys on our out of the theater reaction video, which, by the way, I mean, I don't normally do that type stuff, but if you like that type stuff, let me know if you want to see more of it. That was kind of fun to do, and it was certainly easy enough just to but just to throw something out there, some thoughts off the top of my head. But like with my review, I tend to try to uh, you know, put a little thought into everything I want to say, because I just feel like once it's published in writing, then it's out there for the world, and it's not like I can't change my mind, because that's the thing. I do, where you're at in life, where your head's at on the given day, for a lot of us affects how you're responding to what you're watching. So that's one of my problems with rankings. I know some of you are probably going to ask, if you haven't already, where do I rank this movie, and where's my rankings? Maybe one day we'll talk about that, but I try not to get hung up on rankings, because honestly, it's always changing. It's always changing for me, whether you're talking about my favorite song, or my favorite movie, or my favorite Michael Myers movie. You know what I mean? It's always kind of changing a little bit. Well, not my favorite Michael Myers movie. That's 78, but you know what I mean. The rankings uh, are in flux constantly. Let me just quickly read this comment, which I really liked, and kind of goes along with what I'm saying regarding Halloween Ends. This is a comment on our out of the theater reaction video. This is from Sassy Sasquatch, who says the ending procession was magnificent. It had this mix of awe and almost religious-like quality to it. It also reminds me of Bride of Frankenstein, besides the Corey part being a mix of son and ghost at times. I think they mean son and ghost of Frankenstein at times. Hell, the hands at the end taking Michael off had a Christ-like quality to it. Ironically, it's almost like they healed as they touched him, which is just such a neat analogy. This is a deep movie with a lot of layers and ripe for analysis and praise for years to come. That's kind of where I'm coming at with this the more I think about it. And I do look forward to my rewatch, and I might have different thoughts. I might revise some of these. I might like it more, I might like it less. But that's kind of where I'm coming from it. I think that it will be right for analysis for years to come. And watching these three films as a whole are going to lend to more analysis years to come. But what I like about that, because I kind of felt that too. I'm like, oh my god, they're crowd surfing Michael up to his ultimate end here. How this is how metal is this? But but I kind of, with this analogy, which I really like, that by touching them, it's healing what nothing else really could heal, and healing as much as possible. Like, that's the other thing. I mean, Laurie and Frank, I mean, they're not really healed. It's just that they're finding some awkward kind of high school teenager like flirtatious love affair that this late in life after all this. But it's almost like the flip side of the end of Halloween 4, that amazing ending of Halloween 4, where we always kind of took it in a way that when Jamie Lloyd walks over there and touches Michael Myers, that maybe the evil that is the shape kind of transferred into her in some way, and that's why she kills her stepmom at the end of the movie, and Loomis, of course, has that iconic scene. And suggesting that if you touch the evil, it will be transferred to you. Whereas the ending of this, it's almost the exact flip side of that, where all of Haddonfield is touching Michael, and it's like healing them in some way. Look, I know there's a time and place for down endings, and this is a tragic ending, but that moment, I mean, that's a little bit of light in all this darkness, and I think I'm okay with that. I'm glad to see that some of Haddonfield might be okay. Maybe Julian will grow up and not be horribly just scarred by this his whole life. You know what I mean? The way Sandra is scarred by it for the rest of her life. I don't know. Another interesting comment we got on that same video is from another one of our viewers. Christian Brown says, loved this movie better than Kills. I liked the little quiet things as well, like a framed photo of Lori, Edie, and Linda on Lori's wall. Means she never forgot her best friends. The little things jumping up like that can lift an entire movie if you're a true Halloween fan. And then they say, but Michael Myers had to die. This was the final film they can always do. Another with no relation to these at all, but this was excellent. I was expecting something good, but not as awesome as it turned out. I may go back. Can't wait for the DVD release. Yeah, I mean, so I really liked that moment too. And that and seeing, Sandra and Julian in the procession and seeing, you had young Karen's handprints framed on the wall, and then it pans up and you get that shot, which is actually a photo by Kim Gottlieb Walker of, Jamie Lee Curtis with Nancy Loomis and PJ Souls on the set of John Carpenter's 1978 Halloween. But and we've all seen that photo a million times, and then they share that, and it's on her wall, and it just, I mean, what a gut punch that is, an emotional gut punch that is, that moment. But I love that, and I just agree with that comment. Yeah, it's some of those little touches like that really can lift a movie like that sometimes. Dark Man says Michael Myers will come back as a Force ghost. That could happen. Let's see here. AC says this whole town needed to see Mike physically get destroyed, otherwise no one would have believed he was actually gone. I think that's a good point. Sammy says, I actually like it because Jamie Lee doesn't have a boogeyman after her anymore. Saint said, if a fan went into this expecting more of the same, then yeah, they're obviously going to come away pissed off. Much of it didn't really feel like a Halloween movie on its own. It was very interesting. Yeah, I mean, we definitely knew it was going to be something totally different just from all the comments that came out before. Andromeda says, I feel they disrespected him, like in how they ended Michael. Feel that was a disrespectful end. Well, I mean, again, it's going to be one of those things that's going to be debated forever. Like, how do you end it, or do you? Should it have not been that way? Another thing, and I'm about to play this clip from the interview, so this will lead into that. I'll talk a little bit about what you're going to see in the full interview with Paul. He does give us a little bit of news that we didn't know before. What we did know that there was all additional scenes filmed, and among those was this ending. There is a previously shot ending to the film, and I asked if he could tell us about any of the differences, and of course he doesn't go into too specific detail about exactly what the ending is. But the long story short is that it was a darker ending, a less happy ending, if you can imagine that. He also clarifies one bit of misinformation that myself and I think all of us always thought to be true, but apparently it was never ever part of the conversation that Halloween Ends was going to take place on the same night as Halloween 2018 and Kills. Um, that and Paul, again, he explains in early on in the interview his earliest involvement with this project was back in 2017 when Jason Blum sent that email to David Gordon Green, and Paul recounts that he was one of the first people that David went to before he signed on, and said, "Do you think I should do this?" And Paul, being a big fan and everything, was like, "Well, yeah, of course you should, and I'd love to, see what you would do with this." And so, so he was around in as they were developing 2018, and as you'll hear in the interview, very much as Kills was getting finalized just before filming, they were working simultaneously at that time, even on drafts of what would become Halloween Ends, and so. What we're going to do now, I'm going to pull that clip up here. But one thing he, like I said, he does clarify that was never part of the case. David Gordon Green always planned that the Halloween Ends would take place in real time, like whatever year it actually was, the year that it was coming out. So in other words, under the original schedule that was announced way back in the summer of 2019, at that time the plan was that Halloween Kills would have been released in 2020, Halloween Ends would have been released in 2021, and Halloween Ends would have taken place in 2021 in that case, if that would had happened as planned. So I found that enlightening. And he also talks quite a bit about this upcoming novelization, and what you're going to hear in the interview, and is really exciting to hear, is that this novelization. Now, I mean, the 2018 and the Kills novelizations, like all movie adaptations into novels, there's always differences. There's always little things. The author sometimes is writing based on an earlier script or an earlier edit of the movie or whatever it is. Well, with Paul, he got this gig because he asked for it, number one. Because what he wanted to do before asking for this was he wanted to write Laurie's entire memoir and publish it, which I still think would be an awesome idea. And I know myself and probably a lot of you would have to own that and would read every word. And so he actually did write, like 20 some pages of it, I believe. And so some of that is among the stuff that's going to be in this novelization. Because he actually approached David at one point about wanting to actually write and publish Laurie's memoirs, kind of in conjunction with this movie. Which, what a cool tie-in that would have been. Maybe they'll do it eventually. I hope they do. But that was kind of shot down. But in the process, it was like, what about the novelization? And so he kind of stepped up and volunteered, just being the fan that he is, and wanted to do it. And it was kind of a last minute thing when he learned he was going to do it, and it coincided with when they were filming Halloween Ends. So he's on the set every day as they are shooting Halloween Ends. At the same time, he is writing the novelization. And as you'll hear in the interview, and as we've heard in interviews with everybody that's worked on all three of these films, cast members, stunt people, who everybody we've talked to corroborates that David Gordon Green doesn't stick to one script like a Bible. It is a very in motion, fluid thing on his sets. It is always changing. There's a lot of improvisation there, and we've heard this over and over from people. And Paul again confirms that the constant revision, rewriting throughout. And so when he's writing the novelization, he incorporated all of these other ideas that that they kind of discussed and maybe couldn't do. Like, even some characters that he says we're all going to recognize that are not in the movie, but we're going to be so stoked to see. Like, in other words, like maybe some other legacy characters, or I don't know, maybe other 2018 or Kills characters. But when you hear him talk about that, it got me so excited. He says that about half of what's in the novel is in addition to what's in the movie, and this is pretty significant because again, you can just take that as supplemental material that's not canon if you want, but this is fairly significant considering that Paul is the author of the novelization. He is the co-writer of the film with Dan Bernier and Danny McBride and David Gordon Green. There's 4 authors credited, and he talks about that working dynamic in the interview. But he, in fact, what we talked about in addition to that is that the fact that this is historic for this franchise because of all the other novelizations for Halloween 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I think there weren't any until 2018. I love that they're doing it again, but there's never been one of the screenwriters who actually adapted the script into novel form. So I am super stoked to see what these extra scenes are, and he teases some of that in the interview. I mean, it looks like we're gonna get, like you said, a significant part, like that stuff that he wrote for Laurie's memoir. That's gonna be included in this novelization. Much more of Corey's story. And he's going to go more into detail on some of the bullies' backstories as well. If you watched my interview with Joey, then you might have heard, and Paul corroborates this in the interview. Spoiler alert, but yeah, the bullies are based on real people from his actual life. Real bullies in his life. So all fascinating stuff. And maybe it's not to you, I don't know, but I'm somebody who devours whenever a director or a screenwriter is doing a feature commentary on the Blu-ray disc or whatever it may be. I love the Q&As at the convention, so to get to spend some time with him and to have this movie that I've been thinking about and kind of working on this review over the weekend, and just as I complete that, to kind of sit down and have this conversation with one of the 4 co-writers, it was really enlightening for me, and I had a great time. Okay, enough said. I'm going to play this clip now. This is about 5 minutes long. It's not very long. It's just 5 minutes out of the interview. And this is a little bit of Paul Brad Logan talking about the Corey Cunningham character and the love story between Corey and Allison. Two of the most new and fresh things within this movie for this franchise. So I'll be right here in the live chat, and you guys check this out, and then we'll come back and do a couple shout outs.
This me, Corey is coming.
Sorry about that. Let's try again.
I love you calling it the Strode Trilogy because to me all of these movies are Laurie Strode.
Mm-hmm.
Michael came into Laurie's life, not vice versa, and I think
Mm-hmm.
Corey is coming into the Strode's life. She's bringing him in, but it's the same sort of situation. But I think our first the first idea that got us excited was that opening scene,
Yeah.
literally, and then it was okay. Well, who is this guy? And we just started coming up with who he is and what his relationship would be to Laurie and Allison and his relationship to Michael. And we just kept getting more and more excited about exploring this character and using him as a way to I mean, it sort of happened inevitably, but to find out Laurie and Allison's relationship between themselves through this character as well.
Mm-hmm.
He was like another way to just explore this all of these relationships and the aftermath of this town and the poison, the darkness, the evil that Michael has sort of seeped into the earth, and he's in the air. It's like a toxic smog, that's just destroying this town, and Allison and Lori, the survivors, and you've got Corey is this other version of a survivor, and I think all this stuff has just got us so pumped up and excited to find out what that was, and we just grew to love that character. The more we worked on it.
Yeah, I found myself. I mean, I really did love the character and was much more sympathetic to him than I don't know. Than I guess I thought I would be going in. Going into the film, what we had as fans was really that one sentence in the official synopsis that kind of let everybody know there is going to be this new character and he's going to be accused of this killing, and you didn't really know what to make of it, and the advertising wisely kept a lot of that kind of secret, and I think that's good, concentrating on the Michael versus Laurie aspect. But yeah, I found myself really kind of enjoying that storyline, and even though we do get a lot less of Michael in the earlier parts of the film and just in the film in general, but it's so interesting to see. And also I wanted to remark that I think it's a first for the franchise that there's a bit of a love story element here. And I mean, there's been sex, I guess, love making in the films before, but I was thinking back, I don't think there's really been much of a love story element in any of these films before, and so we get that. I mean, there's the Laurie and Frank story, but we get the Allison and Corey story here, which again is kind of something new for this franchise. I felt something kind of outsidery. Can you talk a little bit about that? And obviously that kind of
it's sexy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like the deal. We're sort of in service to the story. Once the story has presented itself to us, and then we're sort of the conduits to trying to find out what the story is now, and we're just letting it sort of lead the way. So I'm sure David could better discuss the intentionality of things, but I look at it as a little more alchemical, and it's just an organic thing that emerges. And I do think that what I love about that Carpenter's first version of the movie is that you feel characters that are really alive. You really feel them, and with that comes love. I mean, we get it with Laurie and her in 78. I mean, she's a lovelorn teenager, and so I feel like it's there. It's just maybe the relationship like at the center of it has never been explored like that. And yeah, I mean, we just all, I guess we're all romantics at heart. I don't know. That was our favorite stuff to write, was that romance, and Allison's she's sort of a hero of mine. She's like she's my big little sister. And I just think she's so cool. I want to be her best friend. And so to be in those scenes, writing those scenes and just being in those moments and trying, I don't know, I got to live vicariously through all those characters. And I know I really feel the emotion. Like I went to on the way back from Los Angeles, I was driving and I stopped in Tucson and watched it just at a theater. And first off, I think it is a tragedy, and it's just it breaks my heart. I can almost stand outside of it now. But yeah, that romance, I'm like, I'm in love for them. And I just think that it adds a certain, like, for me, a captivating sort of some stakes, for these characters that I want them to survive. I want them to be in love. I want them to be happy. I just want them to survive.
There we go. Turn the mic back on. All right. Like I said, you can watch my full interview with Paul Brad Logan. It's going to be about an hour or so. And that's going to be coming tomorrow on the same day that the novelization is officially released. Yeah, we're going to find out if that release is really happening digitally. Coco's going to let us know. because I pre-ordered mine on Amazon back in the summer when we first talked about it, and now Amazon is telling me that my it's been delayed somehow. My shipment's been delayed, so I don't know what's up with that. A little bit annoyed with that. Was hoping to have it in hand tomorrow. Was hoping to have it in hand today, actually, when we did the interview. But in any case, I had a great time talking to Paul. You know, I mean, just again talking to a writer and somebody involved in the writer's room and hearing some of that background. So I urge you to check that out when the full interview drops tomorrow. And we are not done with our Halloween interviews, coverage, etc. Lots more cool stuff coming. I just can't say the names quite yet, but some very cool people involved in this movie that you're going to want to hear from here on the channel in the next couple days and weeks. What day is it? Man, it's already October 18th, midnight on the dot. So I guess that's our cue to get to shout outs and start wrapping up here on Michael Myers Monday Live. Rob says his book says October 24th to 27. I think that's what my notification was saying. Byron's asking if I can tell Paul about his trilogy idea. I'll see what I can do. Dude, great interview. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I mean, you guys know, I mean, it's a pleasure and an honor for me to get to meet and talk to some of these people and just get their experiences and learn more. Because I personally just drink that stuff up. I love all the behind the scenes stories, deleted scenes and who was on set when and what came from where and how much of it was James Jude Courtney and how much of it was in the script and in the script which writer did this and that. But as he says at a certain point in the interview, and you have to preserve some of the mystique around Michael Myers, as you guys know. So not everything can be explained in the writer's room, and nor should it be. That's interesting. Andromeda says, I wanted to see Michael team up with Laurie against Corey. Now that would have been pretty wild to see. I don't know. That would have been controversial in its own right, I think. But that's definitely an interesting way they could have gone. Andromeda, I viewed Michael's weakness physically as his humanness getting stronger and his evil side getting weaker, so I was fine with Michael being weak physically. Yeah, I kind of I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean again, these are the type questions that I don't think will or really should be answered, but they are definitely what we're going to be talking about forever. What was up with that? What is restoring his strength? Is it you can almost argue it's a mind over matter type thing, but I mean, again, I go back to that interview with John Carpenter. What I always say, he's both, and Paul says as much in the interview as well, that he is you've got to walk that line where he is a man and the characteristics of a man, but there are always things, like how did he get Judith's tombstone from the graveyard, to the bed in the 78. There's always these things disappearing when Laurie sees him down at the clotheslines, and he's just there. She doesn't even blink, and then he's gone. Things like that. There's always going to be those things, and some things just can't be explained. Rob says October 24th, 27th. Okay, nice. that poster of them had you thinking they were going to be a team up. Nice. Art says pre-order the audio version on Google Play. Hopefully it drops at midnight Might be a long night. Yeah, like I said, I mean, again, I can't wait to dig into it, and I'm kind of annoyed that Amazon's saying that mine has been delayed, and but yeah, I was already excited and looking forward to it. There's always like some extra tidbits and stuff, but I think, and you know, you can argue, is what's in the novelization actually canon, or is it just like some supplementary like bonus material? However you want to look at it, still, I mean, like if these deleted scenes, if these alternate endings, there's still that alternate ending to 2018 that's never been released. There's an alternate ending to this film that we know is filmed. They'll be released eventually, and of course we'll watch. Does that change my preferred ending? Maybe not necessarily, but I always want to see that material. But with this book, it almost is like it's canon more so than maybe even some of the other ones, if only because, again, Paul is one of the co-writers of the actual film. And it was, you know, ideas that clearly they had that kind of discussed, and he just kind of, in his own estimation, he had free reign to uh, put what he wanted in there. And I think part of him was a little bit as surprised as maybe we would be that nobody was really rating it in or saying, don't do this. And here it is now being published. So I cannot wait to see it. And just that half the book almost is what he says is like all this new material and just background material on some of the different characters. And we're talking um, uh, like the homeless guy who says, I'm Michael Myers, you know. Yeah, we're going to learn a whole lot about that guy in the novelization. Yeah. Yeah, he's apparently pretty important to the story. And so that's something I'm excited to hear about. If you saw Darcy's, you know, Diana Prince from Joe Bob's show, if you saw her cameo in the film, and if you saw her tweet, she tweeted that she did film a more extensive death scene that was cut, but she thinks it's going to be included on the Blu-ray and the bonus deleted scenes. Well, Paul says he's got a whole chapter about her character, just her character in that Halloween day and what led her to be, you know, cutting those things there at the desk in the radio station at that day. So these are the type info and detours that we're going to have and detailed info that we're going to learn in this novelization. It sounds pretty awesome to me. Honestly, I can't wait to dig in, and I was just really excited to learn firsthand that some of that stuff's going to be in there. And also maybe a little bit more about some of what Michael's been doing the last 4 years. Again, he didn't really spoil anything in the interview about what's in there, but you know there's a lot, and it sounds like there's going to be some other characters that we're going to recognize. It sounds like part of Laurie's memoir is going to go back in time to the early '80s. So this sounds like something really special. I mean, I've loved that they did the novelizations at all, that they exist for 2018 and Kills. That in itself is like a throwback collectible and just a throwback thing that they don't really do for a lot of movies nowadays. So the fact that they're doing that is awesome. But this one sounds like something really, really special and a true like kind of companion piece to the movie almost. So when you get yours and you read all those extra scenes and details, I can't wait to hear what you think. Andromeda says, really liked the movie, was surprised that I liked the movie. Just something about Michael's death just really turned me. I can't get past it. Hey, I absolutely, like I said, I have no doubt it will not be everybody's favorite. You know, it'll be, you know, it's going to be divisive. It's going to be polarizing for a lot of people. But like you said, you liked it a lot more than you thought you did. Aside from some elements that overall turned you off. You know, of course, I always go into these films with high hopes, but this one it was weird because we really, you know, I mentioned in the review, I think knowing so little about what was actually going to be happening in the film, other than the Michael and Laurie showdown, it all the other stuff just did feel so fresh. And I didn't read like any leaked scripts, and I tried to stay away from spoiler info as much as possible. Usually you guys, regular viewers, know what I know. I mean, every now and then I have some privileged off the record info that I can't talk about here, but for the most part, if I know something, I share it, and I try, to stay away from spoilers if and when I can do that and still do our job here, obviously. So, but so much of it felt like a breath of fresh air for me. But yeah, I mean, these questions of Michael and a weekend of Michael, and what that means, and you know, these are the type of questions that fans are gonna, I know, debate for forever, for the next 44 years. So get used to it, everybody. But yeah, I do believe that this film ultimately will have its devoted fan base, just like fans of Halloween 4, which, by the way, that's the first one Paul ever saw as a 10, 11-year-old. Anyway, I don't want to spoil that whole interview. Lots of good stuff in there. You're gonna like. I hope you like. I think you're gonna like it. As a fan, I really enjoyed getting his insight. And like I said, we've got more cast members from Halloween Ends coming. They're being scheduled now. I can't say who. We've also still got that awesome interview coming with Tommy Lee Wallace talking Halloween 3. And we've got an exclusive interview with Eddie Munster himself, Butch Patrick, talking about the Munsters, talking about the classic series and Rob Zombie's movie. And he's going to be breaking a little bit of news in that interview about his upcoming haunt that he's opening next year. And yeah, spoiler alert on that, but it's going to be all themed to the Munsters. So all those interviews and more that I am not at liberty to talk about quite yet. I mean, I could say, but you guys know the deal. I'm a little superstitious when it comes to this stuff. So until it's done and recorded and I've watched it and at least know that the audio and everything is fit for publication, I don't like saying who we've got scheduled. You guys know that. Regular viewers know that. All right, real quick, we're going to do some shout outs and then we're going to get out of here. You guys know what the deal is. Every week we do just a couple Triple M shout outs, people using the hashtag over on the Twitter, on the Instagram, and so forth. So let's go over there now. And we'll start on Twitter here. This is from Miss Mona Hell, who is an artist who did this art they saw called King Boogeyman Pumpkin. I just thought that was some pretty cool art. You got your witch down there. You got your badass Laurie Strode over there. And then you even throw Sam on Michael's shoulder as well. Can't go wrong with that. Cool artwork. Another one today on Twitter. And this one, especially, I picked it because of what I was just telling you guys about my delayed shipping on my novelization pre-order from Amazon, which I pre-ordered months ago, like 6 months ago. It's unbelievable. But yeah, here you go. Your order has shipped, and then that's me standing at the window. Except I haven't even, my order hadn't even been shipped yet, according to Amazon. So this one comes to us again on Twitter from Kevin11 at the Spirit 84. All right, we're going to move over to Instagram for this one from our friend at Har_Hound1978. Happy Michael Myers Monday, everybody. One of these badass shots from Halloween Ends. Another one from Instagram. This is from Natalie Bongiorno24. And recreating that iconic scene there on the left of Laurie looking out the window, and that's what she sees down there on the left. They are recreating Michael down amongst the sheets drying on the laundry lines. And one more today from Instagram. He came home. This is our buddy, The Shape in Sea. doing his Michael Myers thing at the Myers house, North Carolina. Another buddy of ours, Kenny, and I'll show you a couple of the photos that they shared. Kenny had his big bash out there at the Myers house. They did some photos. It's pretty awesome. And also want to send a shout out. This is from our friend right here as well, in one of our regular viewers right here in the live chat on Michael Myers Monday. She tunes in every Monday. This is Darlene and her family who sent us this awesome photo of them on opening night. Yeah, I believe it was opening night. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is Darlene and her crew decked out and going to check out Halloween Ends at the theater. Love to see it, and love the Halloween 78 representation there as well. Again, we always urge you guys, use your hashtags. Feel free to tag us on all the different socials. Send us your photos like Darlene did, and maybe we'll share them here on a future Triple M live show. We love seeing our viewers, and yeah, it's cool to see y'all's faces every now and then too. I see your names on here all the time, so it's cool when you tag us or send us photos every now and then, and we get to see what you look like. So when we're out at an event, we might know who you are if you come up. But like we always say, come up, say hi, and tell us who you are, and if you're a regular watcher or a regular reader for that matter, because we appreciate it all. Michael Myers Monday, we started this hashtag back in 2013 to make Mondays more killer and to celebrate the most awesome horror franchise there is. So let's keep it trending. We got 2 more Mondays this month, including October 31st itself. Don't know if we're going to be doing a live that night or not. Either way, we will be doing something special because Michael Myers Monday on October 31st. We'll have something special if it's not live, but don't want to commit to that quite yet because, you know, it's kind of a important day for us, kind of a big family day here at HDN headquarters. But in any case, we'll be doing something fun. We'll definitely be back here next week for Michael Myers Monday live, and lots more exciting content coming to the channel all this week and next week as we close out the month of October. Interviews galore are coming, and man, I'm so excited to share some of this stuff with you. Having a great time getting to know some of our new blood in Haddonfield, and hopefully you're enjoying getting to know them as well. So if I didn't say it earlier, I'll say it again. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our ongoing coverage, commentary, interviews, and everything else on Halloween Ends, Michael Myers, and everything else we got going on here at the HTN YouTube channel. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss live streams like this, because sometimes it's not on Monday night and it's not as late at night. Sometimes we will do it earlier in the day. And of course, it is a busy time. We've got tons coming out very soon. One more check over here in the live chat, and then I am going to get out of here. Anthony says, loved the Ends score. Oh, yes, we can never say too much about John Carpenter's music. Of course, Cody Carpenter, Daniel Davies, his bandmates. I love the score. I've been listening to it all weekend, actually, as I was writing my review today, as I was finishing it. I was listening to it again, and I've been listening to it every day since it came out at midnight, early Friday morning. So it's out now on Spotify or wherever you stream music. It's out digitally. The physical release will not come out will not be released on vinyl and physical CD and cassette and all that good stuff until January. I'm guessing right around the same time the physical release of the film will hit Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, and all that good stuff as well. So we'll have to look forward to picking all that up. But it's out digitally right now. You can stream the entire soundtrack like I've been doing, and man, it is awesome. That new Laurie's theme ends. That's the title of one of the tracks. It's their new variation on the classic Laurie's theme from '78. That and so many others are are just so good in there, man. So awesome. Andromeda says Halloween Triumphant from 2018, still her favorite track, though Rampage and Unkillable were good. Yeah, oh man, Rampage might be my favorite from Kills. I mean that and Unkillable's great. They're all so good. But yeah, Rampage, I really am always cranking that one. But this week, like I said, this weekend, I have been listening almost to nothing but the in soundtrack, and I love it. All right, Minoka, thank you so much for joining us. Have a good evening. Happy Michael Myers Monday to you. Coco says Ends was the first movie I've ever seen in IMAX. I had to admit that sometime. Wow, awesome. Well, I'm sure that was an epic one to be your first IMAX experience. That is awesome. I have not seen it in IMAX. I don't know if I'll get a chance to. I would love to, though. Rob agrees. Score was amazing. David loves the score as well. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. That score is so good. Dude says 10 out of 10 stream as always. Spooky month has been a real treat for us this year. Yes, it has. I'm telling you. Between Terrifier 2 and Halloween Ends, and I loved Hocus Pocus too. It's not horror, I know, but so much good stuff. I haven't checked out that new Netflix movie. It's called The Curse of Bridge Hollow. It's like a Halloween comedy. I'm looking forward to checking that one out as well. Lots of stuff going on. Yeah, Coco, I'm the same way. You got to have the physical copy, and I will definitely be getting the 4K of Ends, just like with 2018 and Kills. I can't wait, and I'm hoping that some of this deleted footage is going to be included in there. I imagine they would include some of these deleted scenes that we're hearing about or that we know about. Because between my interview with Joey, which is already on the site, if you haven't checked it out, she talks about some stuff that she shot in the movie, and then with my interview you're going to see tomorrow with Paul, again more reveals of some of the stuff that was shot and not included in the movie. Sammy's asking about Loomis shooting 7 times he does shoot him 6 times at the end of 78. It's at the beginning of H2 when they actually misedited, and he does technically fire 7 times at the beginning of H2 and says 6 times over and over. Yep, just an editing mistake. Andromeda says he could have missed one of those 7 and knew he missed. Shot him 6 times. Yeah, that just sounds better. That's it. David saw it in IMAX too. Says it was unbelievable. I bet. Yeah, larger than life like that. Yeah, and that soundtrack just hair raising. Especially during that procession at the end. I just love that track, that procession track. Now we know what procession they were talking about. Yes, Coco. Not the last Michael Myers Monday. No way. Yeah. This is an epic one. But yeah, we're not going anywhere. We're going to have these Michael Myers Mondays for a long time. There's always going to be news on this franchise to talk about. The Tommy Lee Wallace book. I do not have a date yet. As soon as I do, he was hoping to have it up to order on Amazon like this month, so it might be happening this week. He's supposed to let me know as soon as it goes up, but I will circle back and inquire with him and try to firm up that info. because that's another one I'm going to have to order ASAP as soon as it comes out. Patrick says, just glad we didn't see any pieces of Michael moving at the end of the film by the metal grinder, like in Christine, when the piece of compacted car started to move at the end of the film. Yeah, with all the Christine references, you would almost kind of expect that, right? Yeah, yeah, I'm fine with not seeing that, with not hearing the breathing at the end. I think it's a definite statement. Um, and yeah, something has to end. Again, I don't. It doesn't break my heart that it ends. Michael, while it wasn't my predicted ending like that, my predicted ending was that he would just disappear again, like at the end of '78, and then we would hear the breathing at the end. It would kind of but then it wouldn't be the end, of course. And I still say this leaves the door open to it not being the end. It's just putting that period at the end of the Michael and Laurie story is clearly what they're trying to do here. But I agree with you. I'm glad that we didn't see anything like that. The tongue on the record player. That was pretty awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. AC's talking about the preacher who picks up Loomis had a bigger role in the H4 novelization. Yep. Yeah, the novelizations usually do stuff like that. But to hear how much Paul says he was able to put into this one, it sounds like it's going to be something really special. I mean, unless of course you've had enough, and then you're not going to read it, and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I think most of you watching with me are going to be devouring that. Let me know though if the digital edition is out and you guys are checking it out. I'd love to hear from you, even down in the comments below. Coco says it still says the 18th, but not the Audible yet. Okay. Andromeda's adding a 3-minute scene that fixes everything for her at the end of the movie. There you go. They look great together. Yeah, like a tag team, right? Saints looking forward to the eventual pitch meeting episode for this movie. Oh yeah, you know it'll be coming. Wow, Rob, if that was the other ending they shot, then that's pretty wild. I would love to see footage of that if that's what they in fact filmed. Aha, Art just checked and it is available on his Google Play now. Awesome. Well, there you go. So the novelization is out officially. It's the 18th. Again, you can check out my full interview with the author of that novelization and co-writer of the movie, Paul Brad Logan, is dropping tomorrow right here on the channel. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our other upcoming other upcoming content. And don't be shy. Be sure to leave us a comment down below, or just light up a jack-o'-lantern down there in the comments. That'll work too. And to everybody that hung out with me tonight and participated in the live chat, as always, you guys rock. You are awesome. It means everything that you are here. And I can't wait to do it again. And we will do it again next Monday, if not sooner. You never know. We might have another occasion to do it this week. But for now, the next live stream we're going to plan on is next Monday for Michael Myers Monday once again. Lots more content coming here to the channel over the next week until then. As always, guys, you guys rock. Happy Halloween to all of you. It's our time. It's our month. Our movie is #1. It's time to celebrate. I can't thank you all enough for joining me. It's been a blast, like always. And like I said, in just a few hours, we will have a brand new exclusive interview that you're not going to want to miss, and lots more coming this way. Until then, I'm Matt Arts for Halloween Daily News. Thank you for watching, and happy Michael Myers Monday. And happy Halloween!